Procyon, Ambassador Orb ship, the Pureen, channeled by Larry Locking. This is Valance, the Residential Corps Coordinator. For the Ambassador Orb, ship the Pureen, PROCYON. I would like to start off by saying, thank you, Ambassador, for letting us come through you at this time to talk a little bit about astral traveling and your origin, where it came from in your world, and from before that. I would also like to do a little reminder on a little bit about us, your pro-seasoned cousins. We are unknown on your planet, but are not very well understood, or at times thought about soul group. For instance, the main reason that starseeds from Procyon rarely come up in some sort of Akashic discussion that you might be having, or galactic history talk. It is because they are rare on your planet. Why are they so rare, you might ask? Why are we so rare? We are isolationists, meaning a soul chooses Procyon as their homeworld. Once that is the case, it has been standard procedure for us that they can never incarnate anywhere else. If a soul happens to feel like they must incarnate on another planet, then they can never return to Procyon. This is a tough and important decision for a soul to make. It is sort of like, in your Earth terms, we would call it a galactic gypsy. We are sort of a gypsy without a home base. Please understand, dear ones, that these extreme protection measures for our planets, our two main Earth-like planets which exist in the 7th dimension, were taken up a long time ago, and they're still in effect. Let's get into a little bit of why that is. And let me start by saying that, even though we are not very involved in your matters on your planet, we are very benevolent beings. There are no current diplomatic relationships with any other realm officially. Again yet, although it is in the works. Our main two planets are approximately 3.5 million years old in your terms. We decided to close our borders and become isolationist around 1 million years ago, in your Earth terms. Prior to that, we were like any other star civilization of the like. Souls that called Procyon home could leave and come back as they pleased through various incarnations. Before we became isolationists, we had a close relationship with the Alpha Centurions and a few other planets. We are heavily involved with the Galactic Federation of Light as well, but we withdrew our involvement and closed our borders. Now we use orb ships to guard our airspace very thoroughly. Like with anything else in those times, we had rivals and entities of the, as you might call it, that did not care for us, our soul. We're heading out in all directions in the cosmos, incarnating here, incarnating there. And because of our fun-loving nature, which we are very fun-loving, we are sort of the cosmic party animals, you might say. To be put in Earth terms, we would incarnate in various places, and we would bring some of those bad habits back with us. The last straw was an attempted invasion and planetary takeover of one of our planets occurred by a group of dark entities from a star system you know as Rigel. We responded to this by shutting down our borders completely. Our starseed pool was tainted and poisoned. Souls were incarnating back here. Just be instructionists. Just stop progress from happening, getting on our councils, our committees, and things of that nature, and refusing to cooperate with anybody, keeping things at a stalemate time and time again. We are just now, finally, in the process of talks behind the scenes of opening up our borders again. We do allow a select souls to incarnate into our star system that have been indigenous, typically to other star system. A lot of our starseeds have taken on secondary realms, alternative dimensions as their homes. When that occurs, that particular soul will retain some of their Procyon energies while adding on characteristics from that second place. It's not often that other star realms choose to adopt us as their home, even when they've established themselves as an isolationist. This has happened approximately like I had stated over your last 1 million years of Earth time. The leadership of our planets recognize that our society becomes too bogged down with politics and minutia when we're not careful about who we let in. We have a policy, and again, to put it in your Earth terms, we only allow a maximum of 9% of our society to be comprised of souls that are not indigenous to Procyon. This is not something as easy as it may sound. It's quite difficult. It's not easy for a indigenous soul to our planets to spend lifetimes here when we need a specific energy or a specific skill set from A that we need to look outward for outside of our planets. The only thing that we have to offer them is the experience of getting to come here, and with no guarantees whatsoever. We have a very stringent what we call soul purity test. That must be admitted. If after all that they are deemed necessary to have or appropriate for on our world, they will then have their light score checked. This is to confirm that their purity of intention is flawless, with the utmost integrity. So, if you're, has had previous lifetimes on Procyon, then your soul has passed one of those rigorous tests of integrity We have a extremely powerful relationship with our sun, and any other sun that we happen to encounter. We adore the sun, dear ones. We can be found on Earth like planets like yours when traveling, in any climate, where the weather is what you might call tropical, of course with a healthy dose of sun coming in. At all times as well. This is like blood you might call it, this is our sustenance. We have evolved past the point of eating food or drinking water. We receive all of our life force, energy, and vitality from the sun directly through our eyes. We do not worry about blinding ourselves. Our eyes have adapted to, and at this point are constructed, to not have anything negative affect our vision, or any sort of a health concern that may arise in other places, from some related issues. This practice is known on your Earth terms as breatharianism. The air, the sunlight, the molecules of your environment are your nutrition. On our planet, we sun gaze, on a couple occasions. The equivalent of every one of your Earth days. We absorb all of this, the sun, the nutrients, everything that goes along with it. We absorb this through our eyes. Not through our skin, not through an osmosis process through the skin, like humans in civilizations do. It is an open-eyed meditation, practice, on cue, literally. Once in the morning and once at night at least. Because it is vital to us just like it is vital to you, to consume your nutrients. It is vital to us to consume this. It is the only thing at our ascended level that we have to worry about doing us, as you would put it, that's losing our access to the sun or having it altered in any kind of way, really. Ironically though, one of our planets, it's very, very foggy, it's hazy, it's not particularly that sunny. I know you might not expect that to be the case, given what I have just shared with you, dear ones. However, there are specific times of day on this planet where our citizens must have their meals, you might say. Sun gazing, as you would call it. We are a humanoid race that lives on a physical planet. We chose to stay in the 7th dimension, dear ones. As a collective, we have chosen. Our technology is way, way more advanced than the 7th dimension. We'll just say that. But we choose to be at that last level before we transform into what you would call an orb-type body, or a holographic type of image, or a light ray, for instance. We are generally tall, but wand, like your Nordics are. Like your stereotypical Pleiadians. A lot like the Pleiadians. If you want to think of us another way, think of us as sort of like our Pleiadian cousins on steroids, so to speak. We're a little bit more extreme in every way. We're fun-loving. We're partiers. We astral travel constantly conscious. Astral traveling is what we do. You cannot do that on your planet, your souls. Otherwise, you would have people using their arms to fly through the air. Your character, Superman. That wasn't just some accident out of somebody's imagination that it was written. That is how we travel through the cosmos. Yes, we have orb ships. Yes, we have Merkabahs. We have those things, light ships. We prefer to travel in our part of the galaxy by astral, traveling consciously in an awakened, and we'll get into that in a little bit. They're mostly average-sized cities. What you would call them 25 to 30,000 inhabitants, although we do have major metropolitan areas like you do, with big amethyst and crystalline skyscrapers. That might look something like futuristic movie to somebody on your planet, dear ones. We certainly like the astral travel. We also like to air ski, what we call air skiing. We just glide through the air. Our rural areas are gorgeous. And since we have a limited population, most of our areas are rural. Those bigger cities I mentioned, there's only a handful of them per planet, strategically located throughout. We are making our way back into your existence now. Dear souls, because we, like the other star races and star nations, we understand how vital this time of ascension is for not only your souls and your planet, but for the entire existence as well. We grasp the magnitude of this moment. You might say, dear ones. Back to the astral traveling. Astral projection. Whatever you would like to call it, outer body experience, as your great Dr. Robert Monroe coined it. You may think of astral projection as having roots in your ancient cultures, such as Egypt, Tibet, Atlantis, and Lemuria even. Dear souls, we are here to tell you. We are the ones that taught that to your ancient cultures, when we were still in constant communication with souls from everywhere, in our part of the galaxy. We are only 11.4 light years from you. We are fairly close. You might say, dear souls, you might say that we are the closest, most exact human race to you. Distance-wise, in your Milky Way galaxy, understanding movement. You must first understand, of course, that this involves a fundamental separation of your etheric body and your soul from your physical body, 4. This happens during your sleep or a deep meditation. When you feel that floating, come on when you see those visuals along with your floating. Through the air overlooking a city, a countryside, whatever it may be, another planet that you may be going to. It is a wonderful way your wants to explore other realms, visit different places, communicate with beings who are tuned into your radio station from all over the cosmos. Yes, you, your own personal radio station. This is how we found, like some of his other, what he would call guides that he channels from around the cosmos. We tuned into him as well through his frequency. That's how we found out about him, and we just kind of let it lie for about a decade. Before we came into his reality, yes, we had a little fun with doing that. When we first came into his reality, a little bit, but it was all in good humor. Your journeys take place on what you call your astral plane. These are parallel dimensions. You might think of them as beyond your physical world. These are definitely higher states of consciousness high. Realms of understanding, where time and space as you know it are fluid, like a spiral sort of. Your opportunities and your possibilities are truly limitless. To be able to even get close to this sort of a process, dear ones, it does require quite a bit of patience and quite a bit of an open mind. Relaxing is first and foremost. Finding that quiet space to just get away and have some you time, as you would call it. Some you time to calm your body. There are certain techniques that you can look into to help you with your fundamentals. You can always imagine for safety reasons, comfort reasons even. You can imagine that you are holding onto a rope when you first start in on one of your journeys. You're holding onto a rope for protection. As you relax, vibrations, you may feel buzzing sensations, douse various parts of your body. This is often the first telltale sign that you're achieving that inner knowledge to control your astral travels as much as possible on your earth plane. Understand your souls, each and every one of you, every single second. Every single second that you are in what you would call a sleep state, you are astral traveling, every single one of you all the time. What we're talking about is remembering it. The full remembrance of it all the time. When these vibrations and these sensations come your way, embrace them. Some of you dear ones are able to achieve this sort of a state through lucid dreaming, where you're aware of your dreams and you're aware that you are actively controlling them. You have an awareness about you during this process. And once you are able to control a dream on that level, you can intentionally separate your physical body from your etheric repetition gear ones. There really is something to repetition. What I mean by that is positivity. You get what you give out. Affirmations, those work gear ones. Isn't it funny? Dear souls, how the simplest things on your earth are the most profound yet can be the most construed and overthought. Your golden rule comes to mind, for example, dear ones. But I digress. By continuing to reaffirm your intentions, by continuing to visualize yourself, using these techniques in a peaceful way, and not for any sort of a negative ulterior motive, you start to open yourself to all possibilities, all realms, all dimensions, all alternate timelines, you name it, dear ones. We cannot stress to you the spiritual growth that you can achieve by exploring the astral plane, the work alone that it takes to become proficient at it on a regular basis is enough of a skill builder to put you head and shoulders above even some of the most enlightened people in your realm. The spiritual insights, the cosmic wisdom, the galactic history that you can find yourself in tune with. It's just amazing when exploring these realms through what you call astral traveling. It can be a place of healing many traumas, releasing many blockages, increasing your self-awareness, because you are experiencing more than just that physical vehicle that you are. Lower vibration, high-density realm. You will see yourself gaining a greater sense of self-awareness, and for sure, you'll start to find more and more that you're building an increasingly deeper connection with your higher self, your overself, and who you are, who that soul is, in everything that you ever wanted to know about it. These techniques offer great opportunity. Things that travel, even in a very sophisticated spacecraft, cannot do. Places, not just physical places to go to, but dimensions within dimensions even. With hidden dimensions, if you can believe that every dimension has several rungs, the ladder, you might want to say that, you could have fourth dimension, section, and 2 and 3 and go up from there. We do not like to spread negativity to your souls, but we feel in our duty to let you know that when you do not, 100% pure and proper intentions for accessing these realms and using astral traveling techniques, there are dangers that can occur. You will find yourself having more anxiety, more fear, and it simply again puts your souls. It's just a vibration thing. That part of it's not really a good or bad thing as far as what caused it. It's a vibration thing. Another thing too is your ones. The astral plane is where most of you light warriors spend your nights and why you don't remember your dreams because you are a light warrior incarnates. The astral plane can be an unsavory place at times, and you really have to know how to handle yourself on a spiritual level. Conduct yourself there, and we encourage getting. It's one of them things. To just get in and get out. So you don't have to constantly be worried about whether or not you use the right discernment or not. You know what's right with? And just continue to go with it like that. The healing properties are also amazing, of astral traveling, of course. It increases your self-awareness about who you are about everything around you. You have been shown that you are not just a physical body. Of course, like with anything, dear ones, there's a yang and a yang with anything. There can be a downside to it. Physical discomfort, pain. You can wake up after a nice long trip, and if you weren't grounded, while taking that, all sorts of different weird physical ailments can pop up. Nothing real permanent, but it seems to draw people in. It draws souls in, dear ones. Some individuals have even reported a difficulty returning. Again, we're going to stress to you again, even if you have the access to be able to do this. Make sure that your intention's set. You're in the right frame of mind when you're dealing with spiritual matters or people you consider more enlightened than normal. We are sure, dear ones, you have heard the advice before on how to get the ball rolling, as you might say, to astral travel. Have you heard this one before, dear ones? Keep notepad and a pen by your bed. We would encourage that. Make it a journal. Keep track of your progress. This will help you tune in and get keyed into similarities that you might have here and there across string of your various journeys out into the cosmos. Stay grounded, dear ones. Stay grounded. We know that sounds like a cliche too, but it's so true. Stay as grounded as you possibly can in third-dimensional real, or to cope with third-dimensional reality, we should say. Ensure that you remain with your physical body, at least for the time being. If you start to struggle and doubt yourself, talk to someone, dear ones, with your social media. Now, it can be a yin and yang as well. There are good people out there. Lots of great people. And if you're having trouble yourself with some of these topics, dear ones, that come through, find someone who resonates with you so that you can bounce ideas off of, or have them spiral to you for the time being. Astral traveling is one of the most powerful things in the cosmos, dear ones. Absolutely. We would like to finish that by saying, dear ones, that if you're struggling, and your heart is definitely in the right place, astral travel to your heart's content. Seek guidance. Use discernment, but seek guidance from others that are out there. Others in your social media that have been practicing these techniques for years and have become what you might call masters at it. It's such a transformative, powerful process, dear ones, for all sorts of growth, mind, body, and soul. When you take the time to learn the history, to learn its techniques, and to learn the yin and the yang of it, your consciousness and how much you're appreciated in the cosmos, the increase is tenfold. You must remember again, dear ones, you must keep an open mind. Repetition, 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 practice regularly. And with that, this is Valance Residential Care Coordinator of the PROCYON Ambassador Orbship, Pureen. That's Purean Pureen. And PROCYON is PROCYON in your terms, dear ones. With that, we will depart at this time, and we will throw it back to you, Ambassador.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Well, that was great. Wonderful. It's always good to hear from them. They're trippy. Yeah. Procyon, what can I say? Yeah, Valance is always appreciated. I always appreciate him coming through. And with that, yeah, and there's not much more I could add to that except for, well, there you have it, Cosmic Sports fans. There you have it.